Good afternoon, everybody, and I'm hoping today we find you really well. News on House Flipper. Apparently, they have released the Valentine's Day DLC, so there'll be some new decorations to explore. They've also been working on their HGTV DLC, and apparently, House Flipper VR is nearly ready to go, so that'll be pretty cool. We will continue our game. In an English garden, you have to have flower beds with colourful flowers. You do indeed, and it helps when you put them in. They take a bit of time though. So this is our office. It looks a bit better than it used to. We've started doing a utility garden with our useful plants and our flowers mixed in together. But I keep going off to develop other people's houses and forgetting about mine. So that's a bit of a problem. Let's head straight into this. Take our browser. We'll go to the house with uninvited guests, which doesn't look like this anymore and no longer has uninvited guests. The Sloth family in the bottom suggest they'd like a room which can be used by the whole family, which is why when I do a house for them I try and give them a wow, that does look a bit better than it used to. Let's just grab that as a screenshot. There we go. I try and include a family room for them. So basically we're in the last stages of this garden. I need to throw down some decorative grasses and some low conifers, and I need to gravel all of this side, all of the front and up the back. And pretty much once we've done that, we're done. I'm really tempted to put in some kind of rockery about here as well. So that's pretty much it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the graveling first, and that way I can just throw the plants down in one go instead of planting and then graveling and then having to plant again and try and guess where I was. So we're going to just go with our tab. I have a thunderstorm outside. It's threatening to go nuts out there. But we're good so far. Alrighty, and away we go. So I think I've been missing in action for almost 2 days now, which is not really what I intended to do, but anyway, it happened. Work got busy, as it does. So yesterday was a 19-hour day, mostly because I couldn't sleep and I woke up really early and got straight into it, but also because a few things cropped up that I didn't expect. So there you go. So I'm really glad to be back and doing this today. Alrighty, now that we've done that, let's just try and get this gravel down as fast as we can. I know, there's a strip, I'm going to have to deal with it. Graveling used to take a lot longer. I remember it being a lot more tedious than this, but either I've gotten better or they've tweaked something and made it so much easier. I'm not sure which it is. Alrighty. Either way, I really like it. So all I'm doing is just finger on the W key and trying to walk in a straight line and not miss big chunks like that. Alright, I'm just going to get rid of this bit. If you've got any kind of movement sickness, this is so much nicer than squiggling back and forward. It's a bit like mowing, but with gravel. That's been driving me nuts. So, also like turf rolling, if you overlap some of where your gravel is, you tend to not have this kind of thing happening so much. Oops. if you can drive in a straight line, which is not guaranteed with me. Still, I can gravel better than I can mow, so that's not bad. All right. And that's the gravelling done. That was relatively painless. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to use this pampas grass as our highlight, as our tall grass highlight throughout the yard. That's probably going to be the tallest thing we put in. And then we're going to use a variety of other grasses that are other grasses, and we'll get there eventually. A variety of other grasses and conifers to just make the landscape not too uniform. So we're going to try for not mirroring things, which I'm really bad at doing. I tend to mirror everything if I can. I can't do the ragged, irregular shapes at all well. So I'm working on that. So I'm trying to avoid straight lines, and I'm just trying to put in these things everywhere. So we're just going to dump them down in a kind of as random a pattern as we can. And hopefully, I could also put a path out here. I probably should, actually, now that I think about it. Let's go do that before I forget again. The good thing is your recently used tab will have the top, I don't know, the top 12 things that you've used. So the paving stone block is something we got into last time I played. I'm just going to try and get this to go in a straight line. It'll be as close as I can get it without turning back, and I probably should do multiples, so by many, and away we go. So we're going to just do a quick path that takes us around the back, but the other function of this path is to divide the yard into rooms. So when you're doing any garden, you can either work it through one room at a time, or you can work it through one plant at a time. It all depends on exactly how you want to do it. Normally what I would do is walk all the way up to the top and extend a path out of the sitting room area up there, and just make sure that the paths linked, but I'm being lazy and I'm not doing that, so I'm going to have to probably play with pavers to make things match. Oops. So we're just going to very quickly go this way, and there we go. I kind of want something to come out about here, so what I might do is just take this up. One more. Yeah, one more. That'll do. And if we're really lucky, we came out far enough that I could put a whole one in here. Yeah. So this is why when you're going to get two areas to join, you should, and I didn't, check your pavers out and how much space they're going to take up before you start. So we're just going to go back, grab our paving stone brick from earlier, and hope that I can flip probably not going to get a third one. Oh, okay, no, not complaining. All right, anyway, hope I can do something a bit like that. So now we have our path in, I can go nuts with the pampas grass again, which should be in our main tab still. It's a really long stretch. Oops, I was going to put a rock garden up the top, wasn't I? I'll remember eventually. We'll stick that there. Okay, Next thing I guess we want to put in, I suppose before I forget again, I haven't really left a space for the rock garden. I'm going to put a fountain in over there. So we'll just go back into our garden, into our decorations, sculptures. Nope. All right, I will look for it. Under decorations. Yep, okay. Let's go back to decorations then. Water tanks, of course. We're going to have a look at this one, make it a bit sandy. That's kind of pretty. And it's also a bit littler than I thought it was. That's okay. Shift, mouse wheel, you can turn it. Pop that there. I think it needs something behind it actually, to be honest. Let's just grab that, drag it forward. And I'm going to use maybe some boulders. Something like that. Yep. And then we're going to use some smaller ones to come in. Probably something like that. Nope, even smaller. Yep, and then we're going to go back to our grass. Grab the grass, grab the by many. Pop that one about there, and another one about here. Okay, so what we've done is we've dealt with our, we've got a small little garden. People can sit on the rock and contemplate the water. And now what we're going to do is put in our medium-sized things, which I think we'll actually go with conifers for that. So we have our dense creeping, our irregular shape, that might work best I think, or dwarf shrub carpet. That's actually really tempting, the dwarf shrub carpet. I was actually thinking something more along the size of the brachiate or the creeping dense. Let's go for the irregular, and we'll go for something probably something like that. It looks a bit sparser than the rest. And that is definitely not as small as I was hoping. So let's go back and have a look at our low creeping. It's another juniper. Nice. These are so much bigger than I thought. I don't know if that will work, to be honest. Let's see what else we've got. Creeping dense. Alright, this was more the size I was looking for. I'm going to put one here, and then I'm going to put one about here, and one there. I know, this not mirroring things is a pain. So basically what we're doing is just putting in an irregular variety. So the garden is almost done, save for the shouting basically. No, except for just needing to put a few variations in. Pop that over there, one there, and one here, and one here, because I can. Just going to turn that a little bit. The only problem with doing all of this is we are going to have to dig each and every one of these in, but we will get it done. It's just one of those things that takes a bit of time. So after this we need something small, maybe. put this one here, and I'm probably going to put another one there. Okay, so this is, let's just pick that up and move it. So in a modern garden, they keep telling us they want grasses, low conifers, and that's pretty much it. Concrete paths, symmetrical lines and shapes. They also like flower pots, which we actually played with this time, so that was quite fun. Now the last thing we want to do is have a look. We don't want any of those tall ones. So we're going to go back to decorative grass and just have a look and see what they've got. So we're using pampas grass, which is here, probably about 1 meter tall. I forgot which grasses we used. These are the last things we're going to put in because, let me just go check and see what we used in the things. Alright, so we used the little yellow thing and the little purple thing. Let's see if we can find those again. So that's the little yellow thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a bunch of these in various little spots. Just to link the garden bed with the rest of the flower display. Yep, let's go around that. And provide the last bit of variation. So the one thing I like about modern gardens is they're not easy to do, but, well, they are. They're just, but you've got to think a little bit differently to how you think for the more formal flower garden. That was way too symmetrical. I like putting these things in the corners. It's just like, because I can. So yeah, so basically the different heights and colours of your grasses just help break up the sameness of a garden. They give you a visitor's eye something to track. You can put them in as densely or as not densely as you like. So we're going to go and do the same thing with the little grass that we had, which I think actually was that one. Yeah, little blue thing. We're just going to pop a few of these in. Not necessarily in any particular order, but simply because we need just that extra variation. And this part. So we've also not only got the height variation, but we were going for a colour variation as well. So yellow is a deliberate contrast to pretty much everything else in the garden, but it also provides a link to the more yellow-green in your conifers. And this blue grass links in with your pampas grass a bit. It's really tempting at the moment to just dot one of these in between each. Thing. There we go. And again, the grasses provide a link between what you've got in your garden to what you've got in your garden beds, in the flower beds. So part of what you do with the garden is you connect it, but you connect it using colour and shape. I'm finding it really hard to be random. So that is pretty much your garden when you're working your way through. Every garden's different, no matter how much you try and duplicate a pattern, and everything has its own quirks. And basically, all we have to do now is dig these things in. I'm just going to take a quick screenshot that way before we lose the light completely. All right, and this is where we just have to go through and put all of these plants in. Sometimes we can do them en masse, but I think probably what's going to happen today is we're going to have to do each one individually. You've got to make sure you're in range. These are nice. Being smaller, they're not taking as many digs to put the hole in. So if you have a look at the mini map, what you'll see some red circles, and you'll see the green. The red circles are a good way to check that you haven't missed anything. So you know you haven't watered a plant in, for instance, if its circle is red. And these things will change to green the minute they're in and ready and okay. So sometimes you can stand between two and you can just kind of do them both. And sometimes you just got to do them one at a time. So you can see the conifers follow that yellow from the grass quite well. So you've got your 2 points of contrast and your contrasting heights. So very shortly we're going to go to auction, and then we'll decide what we're going to do next. Probably, I don't know, we'll have a look. We'll see what we make out of this one. It's not quite the ideal house for the businessman. He likes it, but we'll see. Hey. I mean, theoretically, I should have turned the sauna into an office all on its own, but the sauna has too much appeal for the other buyers, which means that they're willing to increase their bids, which means for the businessman to stay on top, he has to bid more than they do. So it works in the end, just not quite as much. For our next couple of builds, like I said, we're going to just try and get the guys we haven't sold a house to. The student, real estate agent. Oh gosh, and Jimmy Trader, he's a pain to actually sell a house to. There's so much he likes that people like Urco like as well, that it's quite hard to make a build that's especially suited for him. And I've yet to see how his love for red walls actually influences his buying, because he's never really shown, when he put them in, he's never shown any particular preference for them. Which could be just using the wrong shade of red, or it's the combination of furniture that that I need to work on. And again, this is such a relaxing game. I'm forgetting to talk. That's okay. We don't really need me to say that much. Not too many of these to go. And the good thing about the red circles on your map is you can just navigate straight to them without having to look around your garden for the pots. All right. So Valentine's today, if you're in the States. If you're in Australia, it was yesterday. It's pretty quiet. What I like is the new decors. If you really want to do a house themed for the day, you can work on that. But I just wanted to finish this off first, so I might do a Valentine's Day house when it's not Valentine's Day. Maybe, we'll see. It's not really a client I could do that for. The Smoth family, just maybe. And the painter doesn't seem to be interested in Valentine's Day too much. She doesn't like the whole partnery thing. You might be able to convince Raphael Urco it's a good idea. It would be interesting to have a Valentine's Day client or a Valentine's Day task. Very, very similar to the Christmas task. All right. So I'm not going to put lights on in this garden. Just get rid of. Oops. No. That. Right, I'm just going to take a screenshot of that. And that is it. This is our garden with its comfy furniture, which I can't remember if I needed it or not. Its dining area and barbecue area, and a small entertainment area down there. We have done our dining room, no, kitchenette and living room. We have a small office here. It wasn't really intended for the businessman, but there you go. Bedroom, which everyone got terribly excited about. I'm still not sure I like the paint combinations to go with those blinds, but that's okay. We have our very red entry hall. Hopefully it doesn't make our guests angry. We also have our red bathroom, which I have to admit I kind of like, even though I've never used that combination before either. This is our small pre/post sauna bathroom and the sauna itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to go meet our buyers in the hall and sell this place. First things first, we're going to go to a garden auction. So we're going to hit enter, submit the garden for a contest. Trick with this is don't hit your left mouse button as you move the mouse down, otherwise you will select a garden you don't want. We're going for a modern garden. Treat it as another room with comfortable furniture, not too many plants, usually just some evergreen bushes and ornamental grass, glass, metal, concrete, and would fit right in. This is actually not the garden I'm best at, but let's go see how we do. Okay, they like it. That's really cool. So the point of gardens, at the moment they don't influence your buyers, but they do increase the value of your house when you go to auction, which is what we want to do. I'm really pleased with that. Okay, let's put this place on auction and see who wants it. Giorgio. Chang-Chua. See, Chang-Chua does not like saunas, so that's an interesting thing to remember if you want to sell to him. And away we go with Raphael Urko and Dolan Trusk. So we're not quite doubling it, actually, we're only adding 50% value. Let's just see what else. Okay, so he doesn't like the 2 bathrooms, but he pretty much likes everything else. Alrighty, let's just close that. And what we're going to do is negotiate. He likes it 50% above. Let's see if we can get him to go a little bit more. He probably will say no, but you never know your luck in a big city. Your offer's too low. This is acceptable. Yes. All right. We've doubled our profit. Never be afraid to negotiate, but always just accept that offer. Never go too far when you negotiate either. I tend to find the 50% mark most of them will come at, and when you start to go higher, that's when you're starting to play chicken with whether or not they'll pay that much more. All right, so I think on that note we might end this session here, but not before we have a quick look at what's available to us in here. We have a balance of 217. That's nice. We have 6 houses including the office. We can go buy some more. Let's have a look. The unsatisfying effect. I just tend to move our way through, although I do like the idea of doing a bunker. All right, let's do one more proper house flip. We'll just buy that and stay. The other thing we need to do is have a look at our missions. Sometimes they go up. The lawn has to be removed. Sauna and property. That's quite a long one. That would take 1, maybe 2 sessions on its own. Huge mesh after a construction project and all out. Okay, so we may do a mission in between our flips. I think that would be about it. All right, but until then, I'll see you guys later. Take care and have a great day out there.